It was a cool spring morning when the HOA decided to interfere once again, this time targeting my deployed child's belongings. The pond lodge, a modest structure nestled beside the reservoir, had always been a place of quiet respite and careful planning. My child's items, personal, tactical, and essential for ongoing responsibilities, were being transferred into the lodge when the HOA, in their persistent overreach, dialed the police as if the act itself were a crime. I observed the situation calmly, aware that their intervention was more a reflection of their audacity than of any legitimate concern. The police, arriving under the assumption that they were responding to an emergency, were unaware of the careful order, the legal authority, and the planning that governed every movement on the property. Their presence, while intended to intimidate, instead became a testament to the absurdity of the HOA's interference. I acted decisively, knowing that any further intrusion could compromise both privacy and security. I implemented measures that prohibited the HOA from approaching or interfering with the pond lodge. Boundaries were reinforced, both physical and legal. Signs were placed at strategic points, surveillance systems monitored every access path, and the lodges themselves were fortified against unauthorized entry. Every precaution was a reminder that intrusion into our domain carried consequences that were both immediate and irreversible. The HOA officers, confronted with these measures, hesitated. Their calls to authority, their repeated attempts to intervene, were met with calm but unyielding resistance. They could not grasp the full extent of my preparedness. The lodge was not just a building. It was a controlled environment, a secure hub where every item, every structure, and every pathway was monitored and protected. The HOA's assumptions of power were fragile, and the moment they attempted to exercise control, they were exposed as both unprepared and overreaching. Throughout the day, I oversaw the transfer of belongings, ensuring that each item was accounted for, secured, and placed in its designated location. The pond lodge, surrounded by water and strategic barriers, became a fortress of privacy and authority. Every action by the HOA was anticipated and neutralized before it could escalate. Their calls to police, once intended to disrupt and intimidate, were rendered ineffective by preparedness, strategy, and the enforcement of lawful boundaries. By evening, the situation had stabilized. The pond lodge, once a potential point of contention, remained under my complete control. The HOA had learned, if only temporarily, that interference on our property would always meet resistance. Their intrusion had failed not through confrontation, but through preparation, vigilance, and the assertion of legal and strategic authority. The land, the structures, and the resources under my care were safeguarded, and every attempted interference became part of a growing record of their overreach. The day ended with the lodge secure, the belongings safely transferred, and the HOA officers forced to retreat, their plans nullified. The air around the reservoir was calm, reflecting the sky in quiet ripples. Every tree, every fence, every corner of the property bore witness to the fact that intrusion would never go unchecked. As night settled over the farm, I took a moment to reflect. Authority assumed without knowledge or preparation is ineffective. Arrogance, no matter how persistent, cannot overcome strategy grounded in foresight. The HOA's interference, while consistent and audacious, had been neutralized completely by careful planning, decisive action, and the unyielding enforcement of boundaries. The pond lodge and everything it contained remained untouchable, a symbol of both the farm's legacy and its unassailable sovereignty. That night, the stars reflected in the calm waters of the reservoir, and the farm seemed to exhale in relief. Every attempted intrusion had been met with strategy, every assumed authority countered by preparation, and the HOA had learned, yet again, that their audacity would always meet the resilience of those who understand the land, its rules, and the power it holds when defended wisely.